A film, a freedom of expression debate, and a fresh controversy over censorship. Just 48 hours after its digital premiere, Diljit Dosanjh's Satluj has been taken down from ZEE5's India catalogue. The biographical drama is based on the life of human rights activist Jaswant Singh Khalra, who investigated what many have been seeing in Punjab and otherwise as quote-unquote enforced disappearances, mass cremations in what's very closely associated to Punjab's insurgency era. Long before its release, the film had become one of the most controversial projects in recent Indian cinema. Originally titled Ghallughara, it was later renamed Punjab 95 before finally being released as Satluj. The journey was marked by years of legal battles with the CBFC. CBFC sought extensive changes, including alterations to references, characters, and historical details. The makers refused to accept what they described as a compromised version and effectively ruling out a theatrical release. The demands were for 127 cuts and edits and retakes. Instead, the film premiered directly on ZEE5 in its uncut form on July 3rd, but within 2 days, the platform removed it from its Indian library, citing only quote-unquote current developments. The film, however, continues to remain available for international audiences on ZEE5 Global. According to sources, authorities raised concerns that certain portions of the film could potentially be misused by anti-India elements after its digital release. No official order detailed the reasons that have been made public. The takedown has triggered sharp political reactions, with several leaders calling it an attack on free expression, while the streaming platform says it continues to stand by the film and is exploring legal options to restore it. The controversy also revives a larger debate over India's content regulation framework. While theatrical releases require CBFC certification, OTT platforms operate under a different regulatory regime, allowing filmmakers greater creative flexibility. As more politically and historically sensitive films choose streaming over cinemas, the question only grows louder: where should the line between creative freedom, public interest, and national security and regulatory oversight really be drawn? I'm being joined at this point by Gautam Chintamani, who is a film historian, Bikramjeet Pasi, who is an Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, as well as Smita Mishra, who is a senior journalist. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Well, let me start with you at this point, Gautam Chintamani. How do you look at this? You've been a film historian. You know the big change in how films are not only viewed, how they are released. 127 cuts that were demanded by the CBFC and obviously not agreed to by the filmmakers gets released at ZEE5 platform, the OTT platform, with 0 cuts and is taken down within 48 hours. What's your take on this?
Namaskar. Well, for one, I have no ambiguity on the issue of national security. I think sensitive issues which can be used by enemies of the state, and we all know how Pakistan fans such issues, and we all know what is Canada's stand on this issue. So I think the timing of the film, the way it's been released, CBFC's mandate is to certify for viewing. If it is also to ensure that the creative liberty jargon is not used to peddle something which can be dangerous to lives, to people, to public at large, and the greater picture is national security. I think in that case, there have been many instances in the past, and if we think that film today or cinema forever cannot be used as a tool to incite violence, I think we're living in a fool's paradise. 127 cuts is a very huge number. The filmmakers knew that CBFC has not certified them, yet they went ahead and released it, knowing very well that there could be an issue. So when it comes to such issues, I'm going to call a spade here. I think national security is paramount, and I believe that sensitive issues need to be tackled very, very carefully. I don't think that was the issue in this case. Otherwise, CBFC would not have asked for these kind of cuts. CBFC generally is a very, very, I mean, you'll find it very hard to believe, or a lot of people will not believe. It's a very uh, responsible body. If you look at it in the past also, they've taken cognizance of films like Da Vinci Code in the past, where a film which is not made in India, does not have any direct bearing on India, yet CBFC in its right took certain decisions when the mass release of the film was discussed. So if you're asking me, I don't think this is an issue of creative liberty, creative freedom. This is a bigger issue.
Now, if it's a bigger issue, and before I go to my other two panelists, here's what I want to ask you. You know, if it's about national security, and if it's about um, about elements misusing things that may be of national interest, if it's about that, then doesn't the regulatory mechanisms of our country now need a complete relook? Because if you're saying OTT doesn't require any certification and can go ahead and just release content, mind you, this particular movie is only available, it cannot be seen in India. It's not there on ZEE5 India library, it's still available globally. So anybody who wants to play around with national integrity, national security, with India's identity is still very much capable of doing that with the content that's still there on ZEE5.
So that's exactly something that needs to be asked of the platform also. In the past, when there have been some issues about OTT regulation or the regulatory framework for OTT, or updating the Cinematograph Act, it's an old act, and a lot of things have changed. And there's a lot of issue when it comes to regulation, because what happens by the time you bring all concerned people on the same page, the technology has changed, something new has come. So this is something where the authorities have asked the platform to take a call also. So this question needs to be asked of the platforms as well.
No,
Why is
if
it?
it's such a, I get where you're coming from, and I think that's the conversation we all are having here. If it's so critical, then can it be just left upon the high moral ground, so-called high moral ground of a platform per se? Bikramjit Pasi, coming at this point, because Diljit has been speaking about this over the last few days. His latest message is, I expected this to happen. I thought the film might get banned. At least our work reached the people the way we wanted it to. People have already downloaded it. They're even screening the movie at Gurudwara Sahib.
Then what is the fault of the filmmakers? The central government, which has asked to drop this movie from ZEE5, is clearly concealing the truth. In Punjabi, we used to say, "Jhuthe महल उसारण वालेया तू सच तो क्यों डरदा?" Building palaces of false praises. Why would you fear the dark truth? What is wrong in this movie? If violence is the criteria, then was Animal movie a love story? If violence is the criteria, then Durandar, Kashmir File.
Who told you violence is the criteria?
नहीं,
आपको ये कहाँ से मिला? Where did you get this that violence is the criteria? Because I didn't get it. I'm trying to understand. Where are you getting it since you're arguing about it?
There are so many rumors that the violence.
No, let's keep rumors away. Let's keep rumors away. Let's keep rumors away. Sir, let's keep rumors away. We are a news channel. We will not get into rumors. आप अपना argument बताइए. Tell us your argument. Yes, please.
Let me complete. On what basis the movie has been made? The movie has been made on CBI reports. The movie has been made on the basis of judgment. Even the 5 police personnel were sentenced for the disappearance of Mr. Jaswant Singh Khalra. This is the verdict of the court, and movie based on it. And Mr. Jaswant Singh Khalra, who was that person? He was an human rights activist as well as director of a bank. He was trying to find out the missing people. He found a very shocking data that 2,000 people have been cremated without any basis, without unclaimed, लावारिस जिसको हम कह देते हैं, unclaimed, they were cremated, and he was fighting for the human rights. And if movies are the basis of such type of struggle, which my learned friend was saying that international interest in will war, which movie is the reason for violence in Nu? Which movie is the reason for violence in Manipur? Which movie was the reason for riots in UP? Which movie was the reason for riots in Gujarat? This is totally rubbish words which have been used to defame, to you can say, to justify that movie has been banned. What
Okay,
national interest was involved?
okay,
We
let me
have
get in
right to
Smita.
know
Let
what
me get in.
was the past, what dirty
Let me
politics
get
was
in
played
Smita
in
Mishra at this
Punjab.
point. Smita, you know, we've had this kind of a discussion in the past as well when it comes to stories, reality, reality-based movies, narrative-based movies. We've had these in different categories. We've had this discussion, Kerala Files, Kashmir Files. We are having Satluj, and they all have different facets to it. But this is, like, you know, at so many levels, there seems to be overlapping concerns. I want to ask you one question of what the Aam Aadmi Party and several other people are saying. What's the need to dilute reality? Why I'm asking, because let's look at some of the things that CBFC wanted to do. CBFC, they wanted to erase the references to Punjab police. They wanted to remove the shots featuring the Indian national flag, which I would believe is fair. Dropping historical terms like Ghallughara, I hope I'm saying that word correct, I'm not sure about it, you know, which has very strong historical overtones, send sentiments very high. So a question now emerges is, where does movies, politics, and expression, how do you separate them, especially in an election year?
No, I don't. I mean, forget the content of the movie. Or, you know, a lot of people here on this panel are commenting about what the movie has shown and not shown, whether it is based on CBI cases or whether it is real, unreal. I have no way of confirming that, because unlike other people, I have not seen a pirated or downloaded version of the movie.
That's also been leaked.
I will not. So I will come strictly to the rules, to the laws. It is a clear case of dodging the law. It is a clear case of using a loophole in the current system, and the makers as well as the platform. And let me reiterate it here with an underline that I blame ZEE5, the concerned platform in this case, as much as I blame the makers. Both of them tried to play smart. The makers, instead of negotiating over the cuts, do you know, I'm sure you do. You have a background of the subject. I have heard your narration from the beginning of the show. Do you know that if the makers of a movie do not agree with the CBFC certification suggestions, etc., there are many options that they are given, and people have made use. People have utilized those options in the past. These makers of the movie did not try to do any of that. Okay, they just waited. They kept biding their time. They waited for about 2 years. Then they changed the title of the movie, and very smartly, at a very politically opportune time, they negotiated with a platform, and it was released, because till now we do not have pre-censorship or pre-certification for the OTT media. And let me tell you here, these are the ways people use loopholes in the law just to do something which is clearly a violation. Now, here is the violation. This is a movie, okay? This movie ought to have been released in the theaters, and that is why they had applied for certification. When they found that there is a dispute here and they were adamant on showing something clearly with an agenda, they just kept waiting. They bided their time and they negotiated with a platform. Now, what should the platform have done? The platform should have told them that, look, it is a feature film. It requires a certification. It has not been awarded that certification. So let us wait, and you find your way with the ministry, the CBFC board, in order to find a way. No, they also decided to go ahead with it. There are agendas playing behind the scenes on both the on
No,
both.
sure,
I
ma'am.
mean,
Agendas, so, you know, now are all integral
let me
parts of
tell you.
movies.
Let me tell you. See, this is what people have been doing. Very briefly, I'll tell you. Do you remember an extremely vulgar, a filthy song was released by the makers of KD movie, featuring Nora Fatehi, the film star? You know what they had done? That movie was waiting for certification.
I think we're having a network issue. We'll try and get her back. But very quickly, before I go to Gautam Chintamani, Bikramjit Pasi, just get in. Respond to what Smita Mishra is saying, that this is a loophole that was waited to be exploited. Bikramjit Pasi?
Uh, the question you have asked that they are showing the loopholes, but the loopholes are still for the last so many years on these platforms, and there are so many other shows and movies which are running on the OTT platforms. Patal Lok was this uh, show, the series which clearly showing the hatred, which clearly showing the violence, and even on YouTube you can see so many loopholes also. But this is not the fault of the makers. If a movie has been made on historic facts, although those historic facts are not suitable to some political parties or political leaders, even then, if those historic facts have been shown in a movie, then you are raising 127 cuts on that. Then what remains in that movie? And if the OTT platforms are allowed, then it has been
Sorry
shown
to
on
say,
that OTT
I'm
platform,
sorry.
and now you
Allow
are
me to
using
make,
your political
allow me to
influence to
complete
destabilize
one line.
that movie.
Miss
Those who are
Smita, we'll just come.
No, no,
Miss Smita, we'll
don't
just come to you.
interrupt,
Give me a few seconds. I'll just come to you, Miss Smita. Finish
Uh,
your line, Mr. Bikram.
Ji. One thing is clear that when you have ordered 127 cuts, then what will remain in that movie which is based on historic facts?
So that is for the
You
filmmakers and
cannot
CBFCs to
transform
negotiate. That is
don't make a
that's the
movie.
process.
Then why OTT platforms are allowed? One thing is clear. Are the movies and shows running on OTT platforms all are subjected to the consultations with the central board? Why you have allowed the OTT platforms?
Smita
And once
Mishra.
the OTT
Answer
platforms
that.
are
I will
showing
answer
so
that.
many
Smita
I will
Mishra.
answer that.
so much
There is a very
nuisance,
no. There is no need to repeat
violence.
the
Madam,
question.
please, madam,
Okay,
please.
Bikram,
Madam,
Mr.
please.
Bikram, allow Miss
This is
Smita to
clear.
speak. Mr. Bikram.
This is clear.
Mr.
There is
Bikram.
a very clear answer
Decision
to
of
that
political
question.
party and
I
political
totally
Mr.
agree
Bikram,
with
Mr.
you on
Bikram,
that
there's no
point.
point of shouting here. We all are having a conversation. This is a little different kind of a show. We don't shout down people. I'll get back to you. Miss Smita, go ahead.
No, I don't know what is the point of repeating a question a dozen times. A question has been asked. There is a very clear answer to it. The problem is every time the Ministry of Information Broadcasting had consultations with the OTT, the platforms, the online media industry, they always said, please allow us self-censorship, because there is, I mean, the world is changing. The governments also have to keep up to changing times. So please do not restrict it. This is not mass media. So allow us self-censorship and we will follow. Still, amendments were made. People went to court. They did not win. And you know that now these platforms are also under the ambit of the law. The only thing that is not in the ambit of the law, so far there is no pre-certification. But where I agree with the gentleman here from the Aam Aadmi Party is, yes, there is a whole lot of problematic content going on, and the ministry has been receiving continuous, representations from people saying that you have to regulate it. So far, the ministry has trusted the industry and not put pre-censorship as a condition. However, all of them are subject to laws, and that is why there is child pornography, there are other vulgar things which are cut down, just like that song by Nora Fatehi. The question here is the entire political class ready for pre-censorship on OTT? Because I remember that among the people who went to court against the IT amendment laws, most of them were political activists. Mahua Moitra was one of them. So why does the opposition oppose pre-censorship?
Okay.
And then
That's an important part, and I want to very quickly go to Gautam Chintamani on it. No, Gautam Chintamani, come into what Ms. Smita is saying, because at the end of the day, CBFC has the right to certify. CBFC has a right to certify for theatrical releases. But again, CBFC has not been able to be above. Ma'am, just a minute. I'm totally out of time. Let me just get in. Okay, go ahead.
Personally, my totally personal opinion as a viewer, as a consumer of OTT is that this faith on self-censorship has totally failed.
Okay.
And
that's the question I'm getting to, Gautam Chintamani. You know, you have CBFC for theatrical releases. A little while ago, you called it a responsible body. I won't say that it is a irresponsible body. There have been times when CBFC has intercepted in very important junctions. There's also been times where people have pointed out, have argued, have debated about agenda of CBFC with political lens. Now, here's the question. You have platforms coming in with OTT purposes, whatever the reason be. This now clearly seems to be the basis on which there's going to be an argument for the need for regulation for pre-releases. Well, how much of this goes through, we don't know, but this is going to be a classic example and a basis for that to be argued. How does one really explain, ensure that in a country like India, where you have the political class really at the helm of affairs for everything, not be able to get into creative freedom? Because even national integration, national security, communal harmony, communal distress, law and order concerns, all of these have been interpreted at different times in different variants. I'm not giving a clean sheet to this movie saying that this did not have any concerns. That's for CBFC, government and the movie to really discuss and come to a consensus on that. But as a process, I'm looking at the larger process, Gautam Chintamani.
I think that's the debate, or that's the question that every political party, the government, the opposition needs to have. And also citizens need to have that kind of debate. Nobody wants to stop anybody's creative liberty or creative freedom. But then the argument ventures into a completely different field. That yes, this is a very, very powerful medium. Yes, it will be misused. Yes, it will be abused. And even designed in a way to elicit a particular reaction. Now, if you don't have the judgment in you to understand what can impact or what kind of culture that you're living in or the cultural sensibilities of people, then you will have laws. Then laws will be a very broad brush which will paint everybody with the same stroke. Then you will have a debate on creative liberty. So I think somewhere responsibility has to start at a very, very basic level. I quite liked what Smitaji was saying. I mean, she gave the example of Nora Fateh's song. That song was a promo song. That song, the director said, I was not interested. The actor said, I was forced. The music composer said, I didn't want to. The lyricist said that I was forced. Yet, everybody participated. They recorded, they remixed the song. They did all sorts of engineering antics and tactics on that, understood and sent the file to somebody to upload. And now everybody is saying that we are not responsible. So stupidity does not know any
I don't think in this context that would really hold, because here neither the director, neither Diljit Dosanjh for that matter are backing off.
I'm not saying that you have to look at it in this aspect, but that is exactly the limited point I was trying to make. Any argument that you will have can be taken out of context and seen in this light. Now look at what Smitaji said about the way the platform and the producers of this particular film went. They knew exactly what they were doing. And did you know that by definition, CBFC cannot stop a film's release? They are only certify that if you go to the tribunal, if you go to the court, 99% your film will get released. But are you willing to put it out there? Shekhar did this with Bandit Queen way back in the mid-90s. And he got an award where he came to receive an award in handcuffs just to show how he was being held back. And that film is hailed as a masterpiece today, and it had same atrocious number of cuts and asked a lot of things from Shekhar. But he fought it. Like Smitaji was saying, if you believe in your film, then there are ways to go
I think that's an important part. I think that's an important note.
They have gone to tribunal. Those who did not agree with the tribunal's comments went to law courts. I mean, there is a system to make your point. You cannot dodge
but
the law.
I don't think in this case the system has been subverted, because this is also the other system. At that time, this system was not existing of OTTs. Now you have an OTT which is a legal platform that exists. So you may call it a loophole for them, that is a subaltern system that exists, is an alternate for them. They do not have to do a theatrical approach. They didn't play with law. I mean, again, it depends upon which prism one is, and I think that's what really India really needs to look into, because the truth is, if this is an issue of national threat, national security, it is still accessible. And that's the big question that really India needs to be looking into. Gautam Chintamani, Bikram Jitpasi, Smita Mishra, thank you very much for your time.